everyone, my name is Aspen. I'm a 5th year student here at Ontario Tech University, and with me today I have Rebecca and Ananya. Let's let them introduce themselves.
Hi, my name's Rebecca and I'm a 2nd year master's student at Ontario Tech University.
Hi, my name is Ananya and I'm a 3rd year computer science student in Ontario Tech University.
Today the three of us will be helping you to manage your nerves and how to not let them get the best of you. Let's get into it.
When you go through everyday life, you can experience different levels of alertness. Alertness can also be called arousal. It's important to find balance, though, between feeling too alert and not alert enough. This sweet spot in the middle can be referred to as your optimal level of arousal. It's important to find this because it helps you perform daily tasks to the best of your ability. For example, say you're trying to do a test or a presentation for a class. If you're feeling too alert, you might start experiencing feelings and symptoms of anxiety. This could include things like sweating, or your heart beating fast, or maybe you can't catch your breath. And likely, if you're feeling these things, you're not going to be able to perform to the best of your ability. And say on the other hand, or the other extreme, if you're feeling not alert enough and you're basically falling asleep, you're probably not going to do very well either. So it's really critical to find this sweet spot in the middle between feeling too alert and not alert enough, because if you don't, your performance can ultimately suffer.
People are different from each other, so they experience anxiety in different ways. The different ways of anxiety can be categorized into 4 groups:
physical, emotional, cognitive, behavioral.
Some examples of how anxiety might be exhibited physically are shortness of breath, feeling nauseous, dizzy, lightheaded, or experiencing a headache. While you may experience anxiety physically in other ways, as this is not an exhaustive list, these are just some of the ways in which anxiety can manifest in our bodies. If you are feeling physical symptoms of anxiety, there are strategies that you can use to help to bring your body down to a baseline. Some of these strategies include practicing a calming breath, counting colors, naming objects, or doing a full body scan.
Anxiety can also be experienced in different emotions. You can feel fearful, disappointed, angry, helpless, sad, or you can also feel all of them together while experiencing anxiety. When you are experiencing anxiety, ask yourself, does your emotions fit the situation? If it seems to fit the situation, then you can try some strategies to help yourself to come to the baseline. Firstly, you can try self-compassion. For example, if there is someone you love is experiencing the same situation you are in right now, then what would you tell to that person to make them feel better? You can engage in mindfulness of emotions. To do this, you can observe the feelings and sensations associated with the emotions you are experiencing right now. It will help to create a space between the emotions and yourself by putting emotions outside of yourself.
Another way that people can experience anxiety is cognitively. One way that this can happen is falling into thinking traps. Thinking traps are ways a person thinks that can alter the way that they view or interpret daily situations or experiences. One thinking trap is called fortune telling. What this involves is when someone thinks that they know exactly how something's going to play out. For example, someone may say, "I know I'm going to fail this test," when really, you don't. You don't know how things are going to play out, no matter what the circumstance. Another thinking trap that someone can fall into is called black and white thinking. This can also be called all or nothing thinking. When someone falls into this thinking trap, they fail to see the range of potential outcomes that could happen. Instead, they only can think, this is going to happen or this is going to happen. And oftentimes it's on the extremes of it's either going to go great or it's going to go horribly wrong. So for example, someone may say, I'm going to do so well on this test, or I'm going to fail. And that's black and white thinking. There's no gray area there saying, maybe I'm just going to do okay. Labeling is another thinking trap that someone can fall into. When this happens, someone applies a label or a characteristic to themselves in a way that defines them fully and unfairly. This often happens when a mistake occurs. So they will apply a characteristic associated maybe with that mistake to themselves as a whole, rather than attributing it to that situation specifically. So, for example, someone may say, "Oh, I failed that test. I'm stupid," rather than just saying, "Okay, I didn't do that great on that test, but that doesn't define me as a person." Filtering is another thinking trap that someone can fall into. Filtering involves someone focusing only on the perceived negative aspects of a situation and allowing those perceived negative aspects to define the circumstance or situation as a whole. So, for example, someone may be giving a presentation in class and they look out to the crowd and they see some people engrossed in their laptops or on their phones. And this person who's experiencing filtering may say, "Well, those people aren't paying attention and that means that I'm not doing well." And instead, they'll fail to see the situation as a whole. They'll focus in on those negative aspects rather than seeing that there's so many other people paying attention and enjoying their presentation. Another thinking trap that someone can fall into is called mind reading. And what this involves is when someone thinks they know exactly what other people or another person is thinking. And oftentimes when people engage in mind reading, they think the worst. So, going off of the past example that I gave you about giving a presentation and seeing people on their phones or engrossed in their laptops, people experiencing mind reading may say, "Well, these people don't think that my presentation is important." And we don't know that. We can't jump to those conclusions because we really don't know what someone else is thinking. Experiencing anxiety cognitively or becoming caught in thinking traps is a shared human experience, and that's why we're talking about it. But in addition to giving you information about thinking traps you may experience, I also want to give you some strategies that you can use if you feel yourself experiencing forms of cognitive anxiety or specifically getting caught in thinking traps. Something you can try is start to become aware of your self-talk. Sometimes we think that the only things that we say that matter are the things that we say to other people, when in reality, the dialogue that we have with ourselves is so important, whether that be in our head or out loud. It can also be useful to be aware of the thoughts and thought patterns that tend to lead you to feelings of anxiety. Another thing you can try is trying to actually challenge your anxious thoughts.
Anxiety can also be exhibited behaviorally. This can look like procrastinating an assignment and watching Netflix instead. Anxiety can also be displayed as pacing or fidgeting. If you find yourself engaging in these behaviors, there's a few tips that we have that can help you get your body back to baseline. First off, problem solving. An example of this might be if you're procrastinating studying or doing a project, perhaps working on a new study skill or presentation skill might help you to regenerate motivation to get back into the assignment and combat that negative behavior. Secondly, do the opposite action. If you find yourself being anxious over procrastinating, do the opposite. Work on your assignment and see how much you can get done.
Determine why a certain strategy is not working for you and why is it difficult. So every strategy is not for everyone. Sometimes it's trial and error. New patterns and behaviors don't emerge overnight. It comes with consistent practice. Remember, patterns of thoughts and behavior doesn't develop overnight, so they will not go away overnight. At the beginning, focus on being able to learn and practice these strategies without expecting when will these changes come to my behavior and thought process. Try out these strategies when you are in natural state. Trying out these strategies in a panic mode is not a good idea. Thank you so much for watching this video. I hope this video was helpful for you. Consistent practice of these strategies will help you kick out the anxiety of yourself.